Today we're going to take a look at the ANL Fuse Holder and 200 amp fuse for Bulldog Winch ATV and UTV winches. This is going to work for 4 up to 8 gauge wire. This is going to allow you to permanently mount your fuse holder next to the battery on your ATV or UTV. It's going to have that nice clear housing so you can see what's going on inside and if you need to change the fuse. This is going to come with the 200 amp fuses that are going to be the ANL style. These are just going to be a heavier duty fuse that's going to break the flow of current from your vehicle's battery to your winch if the motor were to become overheated. As you can see, there's that little window on the front of the fuse that allows you to see if the fuse is blown and if it needs to be changed. So this is just going to detect when excessive current pull happens from the winch to the motor, and it'll blow the fuse instead of damaging your winch or your vehicle's battery. This is going to allow for higher amperage when compared with other types of fuses. And the way this is going to mount in there, we'll have our fuse housing with the threaded clear ends on either side. As you can see, there are several small red plugs that can go in there. We'll have this sort of medium-sized one that's going to work out well for our 6 gauge wire. And then we'll have a larger one for our 4 gauge wire and the smallest one for 8 gauge wire. So we'll have a couple different options depending on our application and what wire we need to use. Once you have that removed, you can pull out the metal ends. The rounded end is going to be where we put in our stripped wire to connect to our engine, or to our winch and to our battery. So the one side will go in there. To loosen up that set screw, you will need a 3mm hex key. That is not included with this kit, so you will have to provide that on your own. As you can see, that screw just allows a little space in there, and that's where the wire can slide in and make our connection. Once that's there, tighten it down. It's going to pinch that wire and hold it in place. The other side, with kind of the half moon shape, that's going to be where our fuse is going to sit, so same wrench required there, again not included. Loosen that up to allow the tab to fit on there. It's easiest to start with the sort of curved right angle end. Tighten that down to hold it in place. You want to make sure it's pretty straight. You don't have to really crank down on this, you just want to make sure that it's snug enough so that it's not going to come loose if it's jarred around. And then you can push that through the other side, just making sure that our other end is open. And it's also a good idea to have that little window in the fuse facing out so that you can see when that fuse is blown, so you'll know when to change the fuse out. So just make sure that it's turned in a direction where you'll be able to see it. On the other end, we're going to tighten that straight end of our fuse onto the other side. Again, doesn't have to be super gorilla grip strength, just as long as it's not going to bounce out of there. And keep a good connection so it doesn't have intermittent power. You want to make sure that both those ends are there. Of course, when you install this, you will have the wire running through either clear end. So when you connect it, you want to run your wire through that grommet into your set screw, and your connections will be made. So it'll look something like that with the wires coming out of either end. Now, as far as the dimensions with this, it is going to measure 3 inches in total by about 1 inch in diameter. The mounting flange will be about 1.5 inches in total. You can see it there. The mounting holes center on center will be about 1.25 inches apart. And those mounting holes do require an 1/8 1/2" self-tapping screw. Again, those are not included with this kit, so you will need to provide them on your own to get this mounted up correctly. And that's going to do it for our look at the ANL Fuse Holder and 200 amp fuse for Bulldog Winch, ATV, and UTV winches.